So what's going on, guys? I'm Tyler Nguyen, your host at the BG Behind the Deals. We have a special guest today. We have Kevin Nee.
Hey, guys.
And then also our guest today is JP from Uqual.
Thank you.
Credit repair service. Been having really good feedback with their company, so we thought we'd bring them on to talk about the biggest challenge in America, which is credit, right? So JP, thank you so much for traveling. You came all the way from Colorado, driving up and down the coast of Florida. So appreciate you dropping by, making time
Thank
for
you for
us.
having me, guys.
Yeah, so let's talk. Let's get right into it. So I know, me, Kevin, a lot of the rest of the team members, we work with a lot of clients, and probably for the past 2 years, we've been seeing a lot of credit issues. As you know, the statistics doesn't lie that America has big debt, a lot of deficits, right? With bills and everything like that. So we're seeing it affect credit, and today I think it'll be good for us to get some more information to let the consumer know about, hey, what's the do's, what's the don'ts, how can I get my credit up? What's the difference from, you mentioned a proper word, but I'm going to use Credit Karma, for example, but what is the proper terminology again?
So we like to refer to them as online credit scoring models.
Right.
Basically anything that a lender doesn't use, which is every lender in the United States, FICO 2, 4, 5.
Right.
Right.
And we get that question all the time. It's like, my Credit Karma has this, but you're telling me I got this. So I'd love for you to go into detail to explain to consumers why that is, right?
So the biggest thing is, and you mentioned credit repair, something that I want to kind of make the difference, right? When it comes to Uqual, we're actually licensed as a loan readiness company. And this is what I tell people. You can have a 720 credit score, but if you're broke, you're still not getting a house, right? Yeah. So credit on its own, it's no longer enough to get you into the mortgage deal.
100%.
So you need to have your finances, documents in order, and that's where loan readiness is born.
A more holistic approach.
And you have to, especially with my community, when I deal in the community in lending, right? A lot of these people come from countries where there is not a credit system.
Right.
But when you're talking about Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, Credit Wise, whoever, it doesn't matter. Like whatever your mom thinks your credit is. The biggest difference is that they are looking at 4 things that loan officers look completely different light. So number 1 is going to be, in the state of Florida, the statute of limitations is 7 years, right? So when you pull somebody's credit, you're looking at 7 years. Versus an online scoring model that is looking at what we call trending data. And that can be 24 to 28 months.
Right.
Now, let's agree that prior to 2 years ago, we all went through a rough time.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
People lost their job. People didn't pay their credit cards after their credit cards repossessions come along.
Yep.
Okay. Now you're saying, oh, well, the online credit model, Credit Karma, whoever, no longer cares about that. Oh, you're good. Well, you as a lender are going to look at it.
Exactly.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. The other thing is medical collections are not scored by Credit Karma or any other online credit model. And you're going to say, well, JP, we don't look at it for DTI, which is right. But the FICO algorithm can tell the difference between a medical collection, a cell phone bill that went bad, your cable bill you didn't pay, a repo that you had, or a charge off with credit card.
Yeah.
In the credit report, you see it as what? An I, an R, an M with a number 9 next to it.
Yeah.
A collection is a collection is a collection.
Yeah. That's true.
So while it's not counted for the ETI, Credit Karma doesn't look at that. Well, if you have somebody with $120,000 in medical collections on the report, that's a big deal.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Then they also don't score little collections under $100.
They don't score little collection under $100.
Anything under $100, they don't score it. And so let me go back to what we just said. A collection is a collection is a collection, right?
Right.
We all go play basketball. You and I both twist our ankle. We both end up with a medical bill. I go back home. You know damn well they're never going to send the bill to the right address. Let's start with that.
Yep.
Right? So they're not going to
all the time. All the time.
And say you and I have an 800 credit score.
Right.
That medical collection minus 1,000, yours is 5,000. It hits the report the same day. We drop the same exact amount of points, even though yours is 5 and minus 1. Why?
Wow.
You cannot take the balance of a collection into consideration. It's considered wealth discrimination. People with more money will inherently have better credit because they can pay the bills quicker.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
So collections, like, what does everybody do in January? Oh man, this is the year I must stick through the gym. And guess what? Here in May, June, you start seeing them pop up because let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
It is easier to get a mortgage than to get out of a damn gym contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
heard
you
that.
almost like, hey, look, I'm moving out of the country. I'm dead. Like,
Right,
please close my. Oh, you signed the contract.
Right.
So little things like that. You get tired of having cable,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to a streaming service, but you forgot to turn in the little box.
Yeah.
That's a $79 collection.
100%. Yeah, that's so crazy. A lot of people don't know that, realize that. How can it affect
Tolls,
you? Yeah.
not parking tickets, but tolls.
Really?
So like, yeah, how many tolls do you guys have here in Florida?
Everywhere.
Like 30 of them.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you leave your house, you have to pay.
Imagine if I didn't have a rental car, brother. The amount of bills that will pop up.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So little collections like that.
Yeah.
What you're seeing now is a lot of people getting the $8, $3 collections with companies like Affirm.
Interesting.
Where you go and buy something online. Oh, here's $120. And but guess, man, just do it in like, I don't know, Kevin, just pay $15 a month. First and foremost, man, if you have to be financing $120, maybe you shouldn't be buying whatever that is.
That's true.
Yep. That
Let's
is true.
just, but that's how they get people to over leverage themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And the one that nobody pays attention to is we teach people to only use 10% or less, right? You have a client, they can qualify, you send them to me. I look at the report. First thing I'm going to do is say, hey, this client doesn't need to necessarily be on my platform. All they need to do is lower their CCU, their credit card utilization.
Right.
Because everybody out there say, no, it's 30. It's not.
Wow.
It's 10%.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I learned something new today.
When they changed, so 2023, right? They changed the LLPAs, loan label pricing adjustments.
Right.
What the media told everybody in May, June of 2023 is people with better credit are going to pay more for loans, and everybody freaked out. And
Yeah, I
remember that?
Yep, I do.
And that wasn't really the case. By April that year, all those loans got done, and it was a way to, the market wasn't doing really hot. Let's be real.
Yep.
And so that was a way for them to mitigate exposure. Credit card companies never went back. The last time that I was in Florida, we were at $1.18 trillion. I'm talking about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, sorry, 5 months ago. We are now at $1.24 trillion in credit card debt.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So how do you mitigate that?
Wow.
Yeah.
You keep people from over leveraging credit cards.
Right.
But if in those 5 months we've gone up that much, they're not doing a good job at it, or they just can't stop the consumer.
I think they can't stop the consumer. I mean, you go to restaurants now, me and you both know it's packed. People are still going out, spending money left and right. But
but here I am complaining that I can't. How am I gonna go from a $2,700 mortgage to a $3,200 a $2,700 rent to a $3,200 mortgage? Stop eating out.
Exactly. Stop going out.
Stop spending $100 on your pets. Sorry that I called you out. It is what it is.
Stop buying $10 coffee.
The one that scares me, boys. Online sports betting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's so easy now.
It's
so
crazy.
easy now. I mean, boom. Exactly.
And it's like funny money. You're not even using real money.
But it's
Using
creating
credit
other
card.
issues where you're seeing families, right? You're seeing couples. When we go through the financial wellness exercise,
Right.
where hey, we wanna look a little bit into your DTI and all of that,
Right.
and suddenly he has 2 bank accounts and she only knows about one.
Yep. It happens. It happens all the time.
So all of that.
People are very secretive. Like couples, I work with couples where they're like, "Hey, do not share this information with my spouse. This is only for you to know." So it's just that crazy, and it's real. It's real. You know.
And so while we're talking about the credit card over leveraging 10%, right? We want to establish 10%. Online scoring models will not ding you as long as you're at 50.
Really? Say that. Okay, explain that. Dumb it down for the consumer.
My credit card is $1,000.
Okay.
FICO
Yep.
wants me to be at $100.
Got it.
Otherwise, I get penalized, right? So if you're at 30, they take points away. If they're at 50, they take points away. If you're at 70, and so on, right? Credit Karma or any other online scoring model, I feel like we're badging on Credit Karma. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No disrespect, Credit Karma.
Right.
Stop selling people
Although
crap products.
almost everyone hates on them, so as well. Just power it on. Just power it on.
Is it? But every time I use more of my credit card, I lose points
Right.
in my FICO algorithm, okay? When I'm looking at an online credit model, I will not lose any points as long as I'm
Yeah, under 50.
Right.
After so if my credit card is $1,000 and I stay under 500,
You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if I have 12 credit cards, and you see it,
Oh, yeah.
okay, 12 credit cards at 50% and having a CCU utilization of 50%,
Right.
what is that going to do to your DTI?
It's going to be crazy. Yeah, because the minimum monthly payment goes up. That's the
And
higher
how
usage.
many
Yep.
people in our community, the people that you and I work with, are afraid of auto pay?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So on that topic, before I forget, just want to ask you a question that we get all the time, right? Like a lot of the time we get leads, probably not so much of a warm lead, like a cold lead, right? And they will say that, oh, my Credit Karma score is like, 640 or 620. I'm sure I can get FHA loan, blah, 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 right? So we have to explain that, oh, it's a different algorithm. Like what you said before, the way they do it is
score
different.
is different. Yep. Score is
What would be your version of explaining to like a pedestrian, like, an end buyer that, hey, what's the difference between the two?
So
I want to
part
see
of
the
what-
1 minute version.
So part of what we have to do in my profession, right? Like if you told me 5 years ago that I'd be blessed to fly around and teach credit to the consumer, I wouldn't believe you. But part of what I've taken upon is to become not just an educator. I want to be really good at communicating.
Okay.
And so something that I learned is to, if you are the person on the street talking about
Right.
my credit score on my phone is 640,
Right.
I will start a conversation with the Because the moment that you put your phone between us, we're confronting each other.
Okay.
I don't want that friction.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, did you know, which is basically me putting my arm around you,
Right,
grabbing you by the shoulder and standing you on this side, and who's in front of us? Your phone.
Right.
So it's you and me versus the phone now. So I'll start with, well, Kevin, do you know that in my world, right, the mortgage world, I have to look at 7 years, and what your phone is looking at is only 2 years, which is crazy, right? Because how many things happen? And the other one is I learned that when you're dealing with credit cards, because we all over leverage credit cards, is not only that it's a third of your FICO credit score. Think about how crazy that is. 30% of your FICO 2, 4, and 5 credit score is your credit card being below what? 10%. But those phones are not going to hit you with any type of penalty as long as you're not using more than half, right? So we're not throwing 50%, half.
Right.
Keep it at that, okay? And the craziest part of it, the entire thing, is how many poor people in the United States right now are dealing with medical debt. How much medical debt do we have?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
83 billion.
You guys hear that number, guys? 83 billion medical debt. That's crazy. Astronomical. I have one question for you. Forget. Working with a different breed of people that have good credit, right? They're always like, Tyler, I pay my bills off every month. I pay my credit cards off every month. That should help my score, right? It's hard for me to explain that, but in my logical thinking, I would say, yeah, it should help. You're paying on time, but then there's a myth that says if you're paying the whole balance off, it doesn't really help your score.
It depends on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
So Tyler has an 820 credit score. You're good.
Yep.
I always tell people, and this gets me in trouble because it sounds like I'm being facetious. If you're not at a 760 or higher, keep working on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
You're good. You're ready to go. You're going to get the prime rate because you're over 800, right?
Exactly.
But let's just say Kev is trying to go just for that FHA, man. He's at that 640.
Right.
He needs a 640. He's at a 628 or whatever.
Right.
The reality is that leaving a very, very small balance tricks the algorithm. And this is why. If last month your balance was 0, this month is 0, next month is 0, what does the algorithm think?
Nothing's being used.
You're not using it.
Yep.
So are you going to be rewarded points if your credit card holder is not making any money? Nope.
Yeah. You guys hear
But you
that?
don't need him.
Right.
You're an 800.
Exactly.
Are you and I do not need to contribute
Right.
to this high-end bankers getting a big fat $42 million bonus every July. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but if we're trying to help him just to glitch, is what we call it. Little things like, hey man, leave a balance because we want to trick them, right?
Yeah.
And it could be $1.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay. The other thing, people, number one mistake, I don't shop there anymore, right? So I closed that account, and then your credit score dropped 40 points because you closed a credit card that you've had for 10 years.
Right.
Well, the reality is that the opposite is also true. So when we look at, you send me a client again, right? We're only trying to get 15, 20 points, no more. First thing I'm going to look at is how could I make their length of history average go up? So if your client has a credit card that's 10 years old and a credit card that's 0 years old because they just got it in Christmas because do you want to get 15% off this purchase?
Yeah, they get you every time, right?
Every time.
Yep.
So you had 10, now you have a new one that's 0. 10 plus 0 is still 10.
Yeah.
But you have to take those 10 years of history and divide them between 2 credit cards.
My last question, I have another question for you. I have a lot of questions for you, but we have a short period of time. But so I've noticed a lot, this new generation of parents, what they're doing for their kids is they're putting their kids on as an authorized user at an early age. And I don't know what the methodology, I want your perspective on it. If it's a good thing, bad thing, and when should they do it, if they do it.
It is a good thing because you can help them to start running. But let's just speak, I'm going to speak for myself on
please.
what I'm doing.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
For every authorized user that I have on my credit card that shall remain nameless, but it's the best product you can get, okay? I will have to pay $75 a year to have an authorized user.
Got it.
Okay, authorized users are 10% of what you pay. So $75, you get the idea. My kid is 15 right now. I am not going to put him as an authorized user until he is literally 17 years and 11 months old.
Why? Why is that?
Because why am I going to be paying $75 right now when he becomes 18? They're going to copy and paste all my history. So he's going to hit the ground running with 12 years of history.
Wow.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Like even at a later stage, like you don't have to start that early. That's what you're saying.
No, but what we're saying is establish credit at the legal age, which is 18.
Yeah.
Which is 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 17.
So 15 is too early, like basically.
I'm going to pay $75 for the following 2 years that do nothing.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
People are like, oh, I have my 3-year-old.
JP dropping dimes. I love it. Wow. I just learned, so I'm going to do that from
And so here's the rules real quick, and I'll give you that. Number one, it has to be a major credit card. Well, how do I know it's a major credit card, JP? They own an NFL or NBA stadium. Number two, they have to retro report a history. Okay? Copy and paste. You want all of that.
Interesting.
So the cards that you have what are the cards that you had for a while, right? Yep.
The longest one, the better, right?
So is it true that we should stay away from like Amex and focus more on like Visa, Master?
Amex is not a credit card.
Got it. Got it.
Amex is a charge card.
Got it. Got it. There you go. There you go.
They don't report it. Well, they don't report it.
You just answered my question.
Yeah, they don't report a limit.
Because I was told that you have to stay away from using Amex.
20-second story.
All right.
In 2017, Capital One, Macy's, and American Express get sued. Okay, because this is what they were doing. Whatever your balance was, they reported as your limit. You were maxed out.
It still does.
Amex does.
Amex does, yes.
But Capital One and Macy's got sued and lost a bunch of money because you were maxed out, right? And I just told you a third of your credit score is being below 10%. So imagine being maxed out. You were missing a third of your credit score.
Right.
Okay. So they get sued. Amex comes out like, whoo! They do not report a balance. And so what we knew prior to 2017 was the acronym RIM. What are the type of accounts that go on a credit report? Revolving, installment, mortgage. Suddenly in 2017, we get the O, REMA, open or other. We literally created an entire new category for those type of cards.
That's so crazy.
Interesting.
Wow. JP, you're a wealth of knowledge, man.
That's kind of what they fly me around for, man.
You're so good, man. I'm loving this. Any other questions, Kevin? I'm trying to think of anything I can ask him. Just pick his brain right now.
My son is 17, so I'm going to wait another 10 months, and I'm going to.
Yeah, man, it's so easy. Like they're gonna you hit the ground running with a 7-12 at 18 years old.
Yeah,
you're Gucci.
Yeah, JP, I love you to share with the audience what what you guys offer and where they can find you.
So it's going to be Uqual.com, UQUAL. We are the only fintech platform powered by artificial intelligence. And really the mission is to help those clients that are a no to become a not yet. So if they can't qualify because of their finances, because of their credit, because they didn't even know that they could be homeowners, right? We put them in an ecosystem where we're going to allow them to see everything about their money, everything about their credit, and really empower them to continue to educate themselves because Yes, I want everybody to get that FHA product,
Right.
but as they continue to better the situation and crash that 760 barrier,
Right.
get a conventional product, drop a mic, put more money in your pockets.
Right.
And really, the reality is this. A lot of people, well, I don't really need credit. Nobody needs credit until you need it.
That is so
It's
true.
funny you said that. I feel like they only give you credit when you don't need it as well.
We live in the only country where you have to be in debt to be lendable.
Boom. That's all I gotta say.
And on that note,
That's so true. I had one more, but I'm trying to think of what that was for you. Oh, I had it. So clients always like, "Hey Tyler, how long does it take for me to build my credit up? Like, if you're starting from zero or you just have bad credit, how long is that process?" And I know your answer is probably like everybody's different, right? But
It is, but
is there a certain
let's
time
talk
frame?
about averages.
Okay, let's do that.
For somebody that does, there's a big difference between no credit and bad credit.
Right.
You don't have credit.
Right.
You're going to do three things. You're going to get a secure credit card. You're going to get a self-funded installment. There's many products online that are beautiful. There's a bunch of examples. I'm going to throw one.
yeah,
I
please,
have
please.
no affiliation whatsoever,
Okay.
but one that I personally like.
Okay.
It's Self.Inc.
Self.Inc. Got it.
You pay a little bit of money every month. They report to all the bureaus that you have an installment.
Okay.
Self-reporting telecom does not work. Experian Boost does not work. It only boosts experience. So if I'm preparing for a mortgage,
Right.
secure credit card, self-funded installment,
Right.
there's an app that I found recently that reports your rent to all three bureaus.
Okay.
You can literally Google it that way. It's called Boom Pay or Boom App Pay.
Okay, got it.
So that's for somebody that doesn't have credit.
Got it.
Somebody that has negative credit, the number one thing they need to do is
Sign up with you.
well, yes, absolutely. But also focus on how to counter that,
Got it.
right? So making sure that from that point forward, for every late payment that you have, in order to counter that, you need 11 on-time payments.
Got it.
So that's positive credit. People don't know that we have two sides to our credit, negative and positive. So while you're fixing this,
Yeah.
you got to put all your focus in the positive side.
Got it. JP, thank you so much,
Guys,
man.
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you
to
guys.
see you.
JP, Uqual, definitely use him, guys. Highly vouch him. You heard it from him. He's a wealth of knowledge and credible. So definitely looking forward to the next episode. Have a great day, guys.